Attention on this channel. Attention on this channel. We've got an important message. All observations and opinions shared here are for educational purposes only. This content is intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. Be advised that any individuals mentioned are not intended to suggest involvement in any crime.
Case by case, got the fire.
Ha!
Yo, you wanna talk about true crime? We start with the data flows. Digital footprints meet criminal defense, that's how this story goes. This channel's all about online evidence, the stuff they overlook. From live stream chats to deleted posts, it's all in the true crime book. My goal is to provide insight for the attorney in the darkest hour, to find the proof that can make a case or break a criminal's power. So whether you're a lawyer or a PI, we're diving deep in the mess, exposing misconduct and hidden truths to get to the very best leads.
We break it down case by case on the trail of the facts. We show how digital evidence changes case outcomes. We on their tracks. No rumors, no gossip, just the evidence clear and concise. Shining a light on the shadows at any cost or price. What do we do?
Case by case.
What's the motto?
We're here for the victims, the ones who were left behind. We're here for the families, giving them peace of mind. We follow the paper trail, the digital footprints and the timelines. Connecting the dots, we're reading between the lines. We don't just talk theory, we show you how it works in practice. We're here to help you stay ahead of the curve, to get a new analysis. You think you're in charge, but we're here to find what matters most. We're giving a voice to the voiceless, like a digital ghost. Digital ghost, digital ghost.
We break it down case by case on the trail of the facts. We show how digital evidence changes case outcomes. We on their tracks. No rumors, no gossip, just the evidence clear and concise. Shining a light on the shadows at any cost or price. What do we do?
Case by case.
What's the motto? From digital clues.
The the mystery. You wanna know the answers? We're dedicated to the chase. From the first look at the scene to the final resting place. We're here to find the answers, to give the victims their due. A true crime channel with a heart and a purpose too. We're here to build up, to expose the truth, and to shine a light on the darkest of deeds with all our might. We're here for the truth, we're here for the facts, and that's it. We don't chase the trends, we just chase the truth and never quit. We let the past speak for itself, we let the facts lay the ground. We're just here to be a voice, a tribute that is sound. Yeah, it's all for the truth. Ha! Come on, come on. Let's go.
Hi, I was muted again. Someone needs to remind me, unmute yourself. Welcome to Case by Case. Happy Saturday. We are discussing tonight the Delphi case. We've had a voluminous amount of exhibits dropped thanks to All Eyes. And tonight we are going to randomly discuss some of the aspects of these depositions. Some of these things we can put into a little bit better perspective. However, the timeline is still a conflurry. I am still going back and forth working with Quester on the phone information. Where'd she go? Somebody's popping in, somebody's popping out. Anywho, welcome in, everybody. All of you in chat, I love you. I adore you. You guys, yeah, muted. I was muted. Sorry. Someone needs to remind me right before, like during the intro. You have plenty of time to let me know that I'm muted, because I always mute my mic while I'm waiting backstage. So how is everybody this evening? It's been a busy week. I hope a lot of you have had the opportunity to go over to Criminality's channel and listen to them read through the depositions. I have not. I had to read them by myself in my bed or through my reader app while I was at work. So I have a wide range of things tonight for us to discuss. So how is everybody doing, first and foremost? Is everybody doing good? There she is. Let me bring on Great Lakes Fungi. There she is. Are you muted too? You better unmute your mic. We have to stop making a habit of that. You're muted. There you go. No.
I have no, I have so much. We're gonna have to talk about StreamYard.
StreamYard is.
I have some choice words for the person who invented this.
Yeah, well, we're here. I can hear you.
You can probably hear my dog.
Yeah.
Ole Miss beat LSU. Bama fixing the score on Georgia. Yeah, well,
I've been
it's the
upstairs.
SEC. No one cares.
I've been upstairs all day because it was getting hot and bothered downstairs with the Ohio State game, and Ohio State won. However, Coach Mike, they weren't calling his plays. So I could hear him not only downstairs, but he was going, put it like this. He has 2 viewing areas in this house. In the fall season, we have a garage that is like a man cave, and then we have a back patio that's his secondary man cave, and he has TVs in both areas, so he paces back and forth. And in between the garage and the back patio, he's bitching. So I stepped downstairs long enough to cook dinner and gave him his plate and said, okay, I'm going to go back upstairs. So thank God for case by case and it keeping me busy. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure that you go hit the like button, please, for me, and subscribe.
Are you just wearing like a generic shirt that just says college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Why?
Are you just wearing a generic shirt that says college?
I am.
I just want to say that's probably the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's the school spirit there. College.
It is.
Just wearing generic shirts.
I have like, not kidding, like my oldest daughter who went to Navarro and Texas Tech, I have a boatload of t-shirts. But they all have, like, it's funny, they all have codes on them because they all have like these symbolical, like, no one's allowed to know, our motto type codes. So I wore one to work one day on a free day of clothes, and on the back there was a code and I didn't realize it. So somebody was questioning me about, what's that mean? What does that mean? And I'm like, I have no fucking clue because my own daughter won't even tell me what it means. So yeah, I have Ohio State gear, but my Ohio State gear is more fallish. And even though it is fall here in Ohio, it's not fall weather. I mean, it was almost 80 degrees today. It's been almost 80 degrees this entire week, plus rain. So it's not been Ohio State gear wearing weather for me. Just to put that out there. Look at all these people here in the chat. Let me see. All right, guys, you're going to be blessed tonight with our outro video of a compilation of Great Lakes' chickens and my parrot. I put together a little bit of a video highlighting their most recent moments. So that will be the outro. So when we say goodbye, it won't really be goodbye. It'll be, hang on, watch the chickens and the parrots. Anywho, okay, so what do we want to talk about?
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. That's all you're here for? Who is saying no audio? Someone is saying nope, no sound, no audio, muted. Okay, can you guys hear us or not hear us? What is going on? I'm not muted. I'm looking at my, they're saying no audio. What is going on? Hold on. They're saying no. Okay, am I way late? Hold on. Okay, so it says, I think that's when you first started. Okay, good. Woo, you guys can hear me now. Fine now. Okay. Because otherwise I would feel like a complete retard because I've been talking for like 10 minutes. Yes. There she goes. Okay. Great Lakes. Lara. Now you are in my StreamYard twice. So what do you guys want to talk about? I have a plethora of stuff loaded.
Awesome.
I also have a looped video. Well, first of all, let's talk about, and I want everyone's opinion in the chat. So I have my Indiana trip booked. I will be there sometime in October. I'm not saying when, obviously, for safety reasons, but I will be there in October. And I plan on visiting multiple locations, not just the trails. But when I do visit the trails, I'm going to be doing a lot of videotaping. I'm going to be doing a lot of route running, providing visual with video, different types of things that not only, like, I know that I've gotten boots on the ground, and I've just recently posted a bunch of videos of the witnesses like Betsy Blair, her timestamp, et cetera, but I'm going to be doing a lot more than what I already have. But I'm also hoping to visit the Miami County Courthouse. And if you guys remember, I talked a while back about the Miami clerk making it public that there's certain information regarding the Keegan's case. And I want to say the Dropbox information that has to be viewed in person. So I'm going to hopefully make a trip there. I am also going to be meeting with Hey Trinity Reflections, my girl. I'm also going to be, so I'm hoping to go to the Miami County Courthouse, see what they have on file there. I'm also at that same time going to be pulling up information on the other case that I've talked about on here about the mother that I've been in contact with who's been extorted. Her son is also in the Miami County prison. So I'm going to be killing two birds with one stone there. I then will be visiting Ashley Garth. I'm going to be visiting her at least once or twice, and each time will be at least a 2-hour visit. I'm still waiting on updates in her case. So on her docket, for those of you who have followed this channel from day one, her case is why her case is what brought me to YouTube. And we have been waiting now since May 20th. Her case is in post-conviction relief. It's been fully briefed. We had an evidentiary hearing last year during the same time that Rick Allen's trial was going on, which I was in Indiana then. And we went to the hearing. The case has been fully briefed and fully submitted to the appellate court for her post-conviction appeal. And we are still waiting for an answer from the appellate court. However, there is something else going on with her case that is extremely important, extremely positive. However, I have not been given the green light to discuss who, how, what, and why publicly. So I'm not going to, other than to say that regardless of the appellate decision, Ashley's case will be moving forward. So I will be going to see Ashley and Cherie. If you guys remember Cherie worked with me on Ashley's case. And Cherie will be going with me again. Her and I were there together a year ago during the Delphi trial. And we went to the evidentiary hearing for Ashley. She's going to be arriving in Indiana at the same time. And then we are hoping to go to the Carroll County Courthouse and review the information there. That is only for in-person viewing. Plus, we are going to be doing some stuff on the trails. So if there's anything that you guys individually would like to request, some sort of videotaping or viewing of the area, let me know and I will do my best to capture it. We will be running several routes, including Rick Allen's route from his home to the back road scenario that the state said that he took. We are going to be tracking down the exact location of the old Farm Bureau building where it was located. And I just put it out there. I am bold enough that I will probably walk into the Hoosier Harvest store and ask some questions about their 2017 cameras, how they were connected, if they were all connected on the same DVR, where they were located. And I have some information because I have done some research on the documents that were provided in the volumes that were just released about the camera. If you guys remember correctly, last week, I posted I think it was on the Facebook group and on Twitter, I posted the information about the state once again proved me wrong. During the vault, we proved that there were 2 cameras on the building, and based on the information that was released in these exhibits, the state proved me wrong because there are actually 4 cameras connected to the DVR that the FBI retrieved. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Guys, do me a favor in chat. Everybody's throwing out different things. If you have a serious request, please email me casebycase10@gmail.com, and I will compile a list of requests and take them with me. I am mapping out where I'm going to be, and I'm going to do things in order based on scenario. I love it that you're putting it in the chat, but if you have a serious request about something that you want to see from Delphi or any area, whether it be, Kokomo or Carroll County, Logansport, any of those places, please email me and I will make sure that I put it on my list.
Michelle wants to know if you have a PayPal account because she cannot use Cash App.
Oh, I do. I have Cash App, I have Venmo, and hang on one second. I do have PayPal. It's going to take me a second to pull it up.
How about them chickens? Oh no, just send me your mushroom pictures on
You're going to get to see your chickens tonight in full-fledged capacity.
Oh yeah, Karen Hall said look for the toilets in the library in case they're on the top floor.
I know, right? Exactly.
See what kind of plumbing they have too, if they could handle whatever she was doing up there.
30 minutes. Michelle, I will post that for you. It's going to take me a minute to find it. I have a new phone and I don't think that I've logged into the PayPal. So So I'll get to that. But I appreciate you asking. So I will get that for you.
We love you.
So what?
Like and subscribe. Bam. I'm done.
No, go ahead.
Like and subscribe. And remember to like and subscribe and feed your chickens.
Streets, if you want to hop on a plane and meet us out there, you do that. Just text me.
Streets and I being in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
We get censored. Man, I look forward to that day. Told you that.
So, okay. So what do we want to look at first? Let's see. I have Betsy Blair's loop. Well, Great Lakes helped me because she's a master at Da Vinci and I'm not. Plus I'm still trying I'm still trying to work. That is true. I'm still trying to work out the ins and outs of the new laptop. But I have. So let's go. Let's start with the Hoosier Harvest Store camera. Here is, ta-da, the post that I made earlier this week about the documents that were entered with the exhibits about the collection of the Hoosier Harvest Store cameras. And there are 4 cameras. Now, I don't know if you guys watched one of the videos from my good friend who lives locally, who went out and did all of the timed routes for me, but she did walk up on the Hoosier Harvest Store. And there are 3 cameras. Now you got to remember, I don't know what was where back in 2017, but I don't think anything off the main building has changed. And if nothing off the main building has changed, because I don't see any type of patchwork or removal, like, a camera being removed and something being put in its place. There are 3 cameras currently on the Hoosier Harvest Store building. There's one on the end, which I will show you where it's at. And then there's the one that we actually have the footage from. And then there's one further back. And what's interesting, I have done some research today on the camera itself based on the model, the serial number, and the name brand, which is very consistent with what Quester and I went over way back in the vault. But this is the cameras that the Hoosier Harvest Store used was a Honeywell Performance Series DVR model. And it has the model number up here. It had 4 cameras, which are considered channels. And they're all 4 more than likely connected to the same DVR. The interesting thing about this is that they're IP cameras, which they should have an internal clock. The internal clock would be precise. But the cameras have to be configured to run off that internal clock. If it's not configured that way, it will run off the DVR. So keep that in mind. These are IP digital cameras. They have a 1080 full HD capability. They have a 15 to 30 FPS recording settings, which I do not know what that means. If somebody out there...
I know what it means.
Good.
I do, because I used to be a video game. Well, no, I did video games. Well, so FPS is frames per second. So the less frames there are, so imagine 1 frame per second is going to be literally, it's going to show one thing per second, 1 frame per second. And it's going to show like a car, and then the car after a second, it's probably going to be on like the middle, and then the next second, it's going to be all the way on the left side, if so, or like on the other side. So if you have more frames per second, you can basically see that car like in between, like if you just imagine like 3 dots or whatever, like going across the screen.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is the first frame, second frame, third frame. Well, now we're going to add a lot more dots in the middle of this, like in between those, in terms of the frame. So you're just going to be able to see the car at different points in the road quite a few more times. So basically, it's just because like if I had 1 frame per second and it took 0.5 seconds to move across the stream, then, or to move across the screen completely, then I might even miss that car coming by. Yeah, it's how often it captures an image. So imagine it's just like a picture taking an image, or it's a camera taking a picture once per second, but if it's 15 to 30 frames per second, then it's either taking it taking a picture 15 times per second or 30 times per second. So obviously, more frames per second, the better. It's why those like super high speed cameras, or like, the slow-mo ones that they show like all those little details, like can show like a bullet or the speed of light traveling. It's why those ones cost so much money, because they're taking like a billion pictures versus like just like 1 or 2, or just like, because standard is going to be like 60 frames per second. So 30's good, but personally, as a gamer, I like, yeah. Imagine click 15 frames per second. Trinity Collections LLC has got it. Yeah, sorry if I'm not explaining that super well, but it's kind of my understanding of it.
So that's helpful, because the cameras they do have motion detection on them. It doesn't appear that it doesn't appear that this type of camera is 24-hour rolling. It does have motion detection, and the model supports motion detection recording, adjustable by zone and sensitivity. I took this stuff right off the website. Certain events can trigger recording, alerts, or making in the playback timeline. Storage and connections. USB as checked on the form. Your data retrieval. Network is enabled, meaning remote viewing export is possible. HDMI output for monitor connection. So this camera has a lot of capabilities internally. However, its visual components are lacking.
Well, if it's 1080p, it's not too bad. It's probably just the field of view that it has. It's probably not suited.
The field of view and the distance.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. But it's not going to look as bad as the fucking screenshots that we're getting. Is the bottom line, is what I'm going to tell you guys now. Like so 1080p. That's basically your average monitor, right, Andrew?
Do what?
Yeah. So yeah, 1080p is going to be like your average monitor. So if you have a screensaver that you have on your monitor, and you have a 1080p monitor, just zoom in, see how far you can zoom in on that without it starting to look like the screenshots that we've seen of Richard Allen's car. Yeah, horizontal.
So here, let me pull this up really fast, because I think this will kind of put things in perspective. So when Quester and I worked on this way back in Vault 10, 11, and 12. Let me see here. Okay, so we pulled up this type of a camera, which the camera that we were looking at isn't the same name brand, but it has the same qualifications. And we were looking at the difference in quality of the photography that the camera was capable of. So this was the type of camera, which is it's literally the same. The name brand is different, but it's the same type of camera. And we discussed how the camera can see up to about 70 to 80 feet during the daylight, but that reduces at night. That is exactly the truth with this camera. When we are discussing the camera that's actually on this document, that camera is the same. It has the same viewing distance, and it also diminishes at nighttime. And let me see here. Daytime, right here, daytime visibility can extend much further, but clarity for identification is best within 30 to 40 feet. Well, when you do the measurements on the Hoosier Harvestor camera, or the Hoosier Harvestor building itself, to 300, I'll come back to this. Here, this is from the front camera that's on the building. And that camera, this camera right here on the front building, which is right here. This is camera number 1. That camera is 70 to 80 feet from 300. However, we were given screenshots from this camera right above the Hoosier Harvestor doorway, which is a massive difference in distance. As you can see, where the yellow arrow is showing you the parking lot, the grass area, and 300 North. That's camera number 2. Now, prior to my friend going out and walking this area, I did not know that there is a third camera mounted on this building. So if you look at this image and you see where camera number 2 is, and you go back towards the back end of the building about 20 more feet, there's another camera mounted there. I have it on video. I think I played it a week ago. I forget which video it's in. I will try to find it and upload it and pin it out. However, we now know that there's a 4th camera on this building. Where that camera is, I don't know. But this camera, if you look, okay, so I want you to imagine walking down 300 North as, forget the car, okay, but muddy, bloody guy walking down 300 North. And he realizes before getting to the Mears entrance, oh shit, there's a group of people out here. I need to cut back. And he crosses 300 North and he goes back behind the Mears farm. And then he travels back behind the Hoosier Harvestor. And he cuts back around the building and he comes out. Look at this wide range of visual that this camera, whether it would have been clear or not, you could clearly see someone walking. Are we supposed to believe that he walked in the background behind the Hoosier Harvestor all the way down to the CPS lot? I don't think so.
What? You don't believe the police here?
I'm sorry, I don't. Do you have a problem with that?
Hey. Oh my
Do you have a,
God.
do you have a problem with that?
Gas. No.
So going back to the elements of the camera, the only issue is the fact that if all 4 of these cameras are mounted on that building, because whether you guys realize it or not, there are storage units behind the Hoosier Harvest Store. Literally, like if you ever like drive past, self-storage units, in your city where you can rent a garage or a storage unit, they have
Put a
multiple
body in
storage.
there.
Yeah, just to put a body.
Sorry.
There's
There's way too many of these.
I think you're on the wrong true crime channel. We don't talk about bodies over here.
Dude, I need to tell you about the fridge I found in the woods today, or yeah, a couple of days ago. Oh my God. Yes, we did open it.
Well, there's storage units, and I will show you when I go there. The storage units in the back. And what's interesting right now is that when my friend went out there, she walked back there and videotaped the storage buildings. And each one of the storage units had a camera. But guess what? They've all been removed. You can see where they were, and you can see where the wire. Yes, they've all been removed, and I don't know why. I don't know if they were there in 2017, but it seems a little peculiar that they would have been installed after 2017 and then already removed by now. That doesn't make any sense.
Functional?
We don't know. But those are separate buildings. So my whole point of this is that the 4 cameras that are on the Hoosier Harvest Store building, we are more than likely dealing with cameras that were installed for normal everyday surveillance, just in case somebody decided to break in and steal some grain, not to capture a killer on camera. So the time clock on the DVR system that was connected to these cameras may not have been monitored. And there's a lot of different reasons that the time clock could have been off. It could have been power outages, multiple over time, that would have kicked the clock off and then kicked it back on. Ultimately, the documents of this camera system is supposedly 54 minutes. We do not know if all 4 cameras were all reporting on the same time clock. If no one had programmed these cameras logistically to be functioning on their IP camera timeline, then they would just divert back to the DVR and they would all be on the same timeline. Now,
the thing is, like, if you can access it remotely, wouldn't it be connected to like an external clock somewhere? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think about that. I mean, it could be that they never set it up, but
we don't know. We don't know. And the only way that we would know is if we actually seen the downloaded version of what the FBI downloaded. Now, remember, according to the testimony, Mullins went out there on the 14th. And even in his testimony, what?
Just the screenshots, just the fact that it's fucking screenshot. Like, I'm sorry, it's gonna kill me.
Well, Mullins went out there and he stated this in his testimony that he went out there on the 14th because he was told they had cameras. Cameras, not camera, cameras. So no one, among 1,000 other things that were not pounced upon in trial, that was just, went over the defense team's head. And he said that he went out there and he took screenshots. I then showed you back during the vault the FBI document of when, I believe it was the 17th, that the FBI agent went out and downloaded the DVR file. And on that document, it doesn't specify how many cameras. So I admit that probably all 4 cameras were connected to the same DVR. What I will not submit to is the defense team stipulating to the state claiming what amount of time the cameras were off. We don't know how they determined there was a 54-minute discrepancy on these cameras. We just don't know. They never explained how they determined it, unless they were sitting there. But that should have been documented, and it may have been documented. But because the defense agreed to what the state was setting forth, the state wasn't required during trial to provide that information. There's a lot.
And the other thing that we have to remember they said that the UPS truck arrival discrepancy was only like 7 minutes or something. So it's like,
that was 6 minutes. That was
yeah. So like, how does it go from one to the other and then back again?
And that right now is that is a major hurdle. It's a huge hurdle for Rick Allen and his defense, because the defense basically waved the white surrender flag and said, whatever you say, we're not going to challenge you. They did it with a lot of things. In fact, I have the list of things that the defense team agreed to stipulate to, that the state have to provide proof for. And every single one of those items are very important, serious items that should have been challenged, but they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the more you look at the transcripts, the more you kind of see, the more I kind of just like go like, what the F was the defense thinking? Or like just like, why didn't you ask this? Or why didn't you probe into this more? Like, it's just, the ball got away from them or something. I don't know, but like, it's just, the more that you see it, the less like I feel like I realized Gull was a freaking issue. So was the way that the prosecution handed them all the material and everything. But they had an obligation to fight this stuff for the sake of the record, just purely for the sake of the record.
Yeah, for the sake of the record. Yeah,
I mean, they were overwhelmed. Yeah,
I think that they knew they were going to lose on every single argument that they had. But
yeah,
you
miss every shot you don't take.
You have to make the argument, not just and some of it would be very effective in the direct appeal. But the fact that they didn't is going to be very effective for ineffective assistance of counsel in post-conviction if the direct appeal is denied. When you lay out all of the opportunities that were right here, I mean, Jesus Christ, simply the white van and the video being in discovery.
Yeah.
That is huge ineffective assistance of counsel. Although that now, because of Michael Osbrook and it being filed before the direct appeal started and it being involved in the motion to correct error, that very well could come into play during the direct appeal. But never once did we hear anything about the timeline as far as the Apple Health data, the timed witness statements. We never heard anything about the bullet. I mean, I know that they attempted to use the word magic bullet, and that was stricken from the record. However, it is a magic bullet if you believe that
There's
there
no
was
chain of custody.
well, they stipulated that they didn't require, they weren't going to ask the state to provide proof of the chain of custody. And it's not only the chain of custody,
Jesus.
it is the fact that Judge Gall allowed law enforcement to take the stand and testify to what was heard and said on the video that Libby took. And he told the jury that there was a cocking or a racking of a gun, and Libby saying that be a gun. Now, if that gun was racked at the end of that video, up there at the south end of the bridge, how did that racked bullet, unspent, then make its way all the way over to the crime scene?
It flew.
Are we supposed to believe when you watch the very end of that video, Abby is hightailing it down that hill? This man who they want us to believe is Rick Allen, who on a whim out of nowhere, I mean, you're talking mastermind serial killer mode. The man's he's never had any criminal history, never been involved in any type of physical confrontation. He decides on a whim, oh my God, there's two young girls. I'm going to follow them and I'm going to take them across the creek and I'm going to kill them. That he's cool, calm, and collective. He racks his gun down the hill. There's my unspent round that just fell over there in the gravel. I'm going to stop and pick it up.
Dude didn't even have any kinky porn searches. I mean,
And then what do you do? What do you do with the unspent bullet? Did he put it in his pocket and left no DNA? We found no discarded clothing, no boot tracks, no nothing. But dumbass, he left his unspent round. Are we supposed to believe that?
So a couple things. Aloha 808 was interested in knowing what the stipulations are. And then Anna Lisette said, if someone really knows his firearms, a gun can be racked and then unspent round caught, put in a pocket. And she doesn't hear anything about gun on the video. I agree with that, both of those things. It is pretty difficult, though, sometimes if it depends on like the speed of ejecting it.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna pull up the stipulations really quick.
Ricky is lookout guy at best. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you got to know about Amy is that she's just here for the truth, and I really like. She's told me that multiple times, and that's the part that's the reason why I really like working with her, because that's what I'm here for.
Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me find it.
Hi, Critical True Crime. Hello, Sleuthy. Hello, I Don't Recall. Hello, Monday. I'm just trying to... still waiting for damaging evidence, Jerry. I don't know what that means, but... Or like what he said in his interrogation, that he didn't put all his cards on the table, except that's exactly what he did. We all know he did that. I just think that's hilarious because everything that he says there is just like bullshit.
Everything.
Oh yeah. He says one thing. He just says a single statement to Rick. He's like, I'm serious here. I'm being honest. I wouldn't lie to you. It's just everything he says, literally. It's just like you could just go list by list of proving it wrong. It's kind of hilarious. Well, I mean, it would be if it wasn't sad.
I'm looking for these. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so maybe so earlier, I believe, who was it? So someone said that the pictures that Skinny said that the exhibit pictures were 640 by 480, whereas the actual the recording is going to be 1080p, and so that'd be likely 1920 by 1080. So just imagine that. That's like just think about that. Just think about the quality difference there. I mean, you could probably actually change the quality of this stream down to 640, and then change it to 1080, and you can see how much of a difference that makes. That's something you can do like right now. It's just it's night and day. I mean, my oh, okay. Well, it was a joke. Well, I wouldn't be surprised actually if it's true. Like, I just don't.
Okay, I've got one of them. Hold on. Give me a second, guys.
Anyways, I found a fridge in the woods a couple days ago. It was like a maybe early 1990s, late 1980s. It was a GE, like a General Electric, like branded one, and it had like actual brand on it. So like, it's old. But those things, like, they last forever. It's kind of awesome. Like my mom and dad have like the fridge from like the 60s in their garage right now, and it's still kicking. And they had to replace the one in their kitchen before that, and it's just kind of funny. But anyways, this thing, it wasn't rusty like you would expect if it had been out there for like a couple of years, because we got crazy winters here. We are in the snow belt, and this is the Great Lakes. We've got lots of rain and stuff, and we got all sorts of fun weather. There's rust. Things rust fast. And the other weird thing about this was there's no tracks. Like it wasn't like in like the woods like you think about it. It's kind of more in like brushland, but like that was kind of cleared. It was woods before, a couple of years back. But there were no tracks to like haul this thing out, and it was heavy because it was on its side, and my husband ended up pushing it onto it, like so that, or no, it was actually it was actually with the door facing to the ground first, and he ended up pushing it so that we could open up the doors, and there were no bodies. We made sure. But I like literally videotaped that moment because I was like, look, I'm not getting caught up in this. Because there's like this kind of joke if you're like a mushroom hunter that like you're gonna stumble upon like some sort of weird remains. So every time I go out hiking, I send Amy a picture whenever I find animal bones, just to be like, look at what I found. I don't know, it's kind of funny. I find a lot of bones. I found a really cool skull the other day.
You find all kinds of craziness.
Found some bridge guy pellets the other day too. Some spent rounds.
Okay, so looking for my other page. So I'm for some reason when I save things on this new laptop, it makes it doesn't go where I think I've sent it. So I'm still trying.
Sounds like a skill issue.
Could be.
Sorry, that was me being cheeky.
Could be.
That's kind of.
Let me see. Hang on 1 second. I'm almost there.
I can continue to entertain them or something. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah, another mistake was the jury did not go to the crime scene or see the bridge. I think I think not being able to see or hear, I mean, this was October, so there were still some leaves on the tree, but they were falling, so you might have a decent depiction of it. But I mean, just imagine being able to go out there and just see the topography, hear how much things carry. I think the biggest hurdle probably would have been like they just didn't want other people like ending up taking pictures of the jury and snooping. I think that's a pretty big hurdle, but still, I mean, it's
Okay. Got it.
Yay, I'm done.
As long as this one uploaded. Hold on. Where'd it go? One more time. Yeah, I've got them both. Hang on.
My chickens laid 5 eggs today. Did a really good job. I was really proud of them.
I want some.
Once you go farm raised eggs, you can't go back.
Okay, so this is the list of things that the defense team just blindly stipulated to. They said, you know what, we're not going to question you. Nick McClellan, you freaking honest cutie pie, you.
Just so you know, I'm going to put it on mute, but I'm going to be throwing my phone at the wall while you're reading this.
Okay, so here's page 1. Comes now the state of Indiana by Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Stacey L. Diener, and conveniently, Stacey Diener is the one who is presenting this when we know goddamn well she's the buffer. The defendant, Richard M. Allen, by counsel Bradley Rosie, and the parties having reached an agreement regarding the admissibility of certain items of potential evidence and matters related to the separation of witness order pertaining to the jury trial in this case. The court now finds and orders as follows. The parties agree that the items referenced below shall be self-authenticated without the necessity of a witness verifying its origin. Authenticity of chain of custody, which means don't question me about the bullet. Don't question me about the sticks. Don't question me about where the phone went when we found it. Don't question me about shit. The authenticity of chain of custody. The intention of this stipulation is to promote judicial economy throughout the course of the jury trial in this case. However, the parties do not agree to the specific admissibility or use of any item offered as evidence, as each party reserves the right to argue such pursuant to the applicable rules of evidence. Number 2.
Michael's here.
Yep. All in-cell video recordings of Richard Allen while in Westville Correctional Facility or Wabash Valley Correctional Facility. Don't question it. We're providing it. All video recordings of Richard Allen created through the use of a handheld camcorder utilized by the IDOC staff when Richard Allen was transported outside of his cell, unless said recordings included confidential communication between Richard Allen and his treating psychiatrists or psychiatrics. Well, we're not going to talk about him and his attorneys just yet. And we're also going to pretend that these handheld recordings didn't have audio. Remember that? Remember when it was testified to that the handheld camcorder that was stuck in his face 24 hours a day when he was outside of his cell, or even when he was meeting with his attorneys, didn't have audio? But then, oops, we get to trial, and Judge Gall makes them go back into chambers and remove the audio
Oopsie.
from said camcorder and never blinks an eye. Like, wait, you motherfuckers lied to me? There is audio? No, that wasn't important at all. Was not important at all. Okay, why is this page not, my second page doesn't want to come up. Hold on.
Just want to say I admire all of Michael's very hard work creating chaos, spreading misinformation as part of a coordinated plot to sink Rick's appeal and sabotage any retrial. You just so amazing, Michael. You're doing this all without even doing a thing. I wish I could do that.
It's not, hold on a second. Hold on. It's not going to let me do it. I don't know how I saved it wrong, but I'm going to pull it up separately and share my screen. Sorry, guys. If I had known that this was a route that we were going to go down, I would have had it prepared. But I love you guys, so I will accommodate you guys.
Someone asked who would rob a grain storage. Well, I'm saying the chicken banditos would absolutely rob the grain storage. So that's absolutely why you need those cameras there.
Well, yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me share my screen. I got it. Boop, dee, boop, boop. Boop, boop. There we go. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Oh, yes. Or maybe I plead the fifth.
Okay, so number 4, that the defense up front agreed to not argue, and they agreed to take the state's word for it, is all door sheet notes from inmate companions or correctional officers, so long as said companion or officer is called as a witness and testifies at the trial in this case. Well, none of that happened. Do you guys remember hearing?
I'm running out of things to throw.
Do you guys remember hearing any of the suicide companions testifying at trial? Because I don't. Number 5, all medical and or mental health records provided to the parties by the Indiana Department of Corrections or its agents by way of discovery requests in this case, so long as the author of the mental health record and its contents is called as a witness at the trial in this case. I'm assuming that would be Dr. Walla. Number 6, items collected at the crime scene where the victims were located near the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County, Indiana. That's vague. That's absolutely vague. Items collected at the crime scene. Well, what about items that weren't collected at the crime scene when it was considered a crime scene? What about the items that were collected days later? And why would they agree when they are arguing that the crime scene itself is not where the girls died or that the girls were brought back there? That's very frustrating to me.
Michael said to send a link if you would like to talk a little contempt instead of stipulations. I know that we're in the middle of this. I just wanted to put that out there.
Let me get through this. Number 7,
yes.
Items collected pursuant to the search warrant of the 1967 Whitman Drive, Delphi, Indiana, during the month of October 2022. So we can't argue any of those items. All AT&T records containing pings or other communications to and from any cellular towers in the area near the Monon High Bridge, Carroll County, Indiana, on February 13th, 2017, or February 14th, 2017. All AT&T cell phone records for Liberty German's cell phone from February 13th, 2017 and February 14th of 2017. So we can't argue or dispute anything about those records at all. The chain of custody of Liberty German's phone. Why would the state feel the need to put that in there? Michael, answer that. Why would the state feel the need to have the defense bypass any type of challenge on the chain of custody of Liberty German's phone? Number 11, the chain of custody of the firearms tested by Melissa Oberg. Again, we are back to the bullet. Number 12, electronic extractions done by Brian Bunner, including the extraction of Liberty German's phone, which would include the video from the phone. Number 13, electronic extractions done by Christopher Cecil, including all appendix and reports for said electronic devices. Again, that is vague, and I'm assuming that would electronic devices, all of that would include any of the cameras located around town. We have a list of the cameras that they downloaded from around town, and I have most of them already plugged in on the Google Earth map. And I really don't believe that Rick Allen could have drove anywhere through town or the other direction that they want you to believe that he drove without being spotted on camera. Number 14, extraction of Derek German's phone. So that tells you right there that Derek German's phone was extracted, and we just don't know what was on it.
Trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro. That is what the defense stipulated to, which means we, during this trial, during this case, as it is right now, we will never know how it was determined that the Hoosier Harvest Store camera was off. We will never know if they actually downloaded video or if they simply relied just on Mullen's screenshots on the 14th.
Travis said he does not think a court would equate device with a camera / digital.
Well, in this case, we don't have any type of argument from the defense about the timestamps on these screenshots from the Hoosier Harvest Store. And I'm not saying, I mean, I personally would like to know how they determined 54 minutes when on good standing, I have information that back in 2017, within 2 weeks of the crime, that supposedly all of the vehicles on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera were accounted for. So, like I agree that the stipulations are very vague. And the defense didn't argue any of them. I mean, they agreed to all of these things.
Was there a date on any of these stipulations? Lucy said there should be a date. I'm pretty sure the fuckery was long afoot.
Yeah, this let me see. These stipulations, hold on. It should have been on the, wait a minute. It should have been on, listen, I'm being attacked by a Yorkie right now who thinks that she's the boss of me all day, every day.
Oh, no.
Yeah, do you hear?
Tammy Martin, says, I think Gabe Ellis had a trunk full of, oh my God, this dog, had a trunk full of video cameras. I think it was trail cameras in the back of his white car with white paper plates. What was all that about? I know that.
This document does not have a date. I believe it was a motion that was filed. Let me see.
Oh, your son has 2 wieners? That's weird.
This was filed with the court, but I don't, this document doesn't have a date.
Oh. Yeah, I know Amy did talk about the trail cameras being found.
Yeah, oh geez. Here we go. So I do have here's the problem with, I think, a lot of people thinking they're connecting Gabe Ellis with the paper plate tags in the vehicle, the one that Tina Rodell described. But the problem is that there's no proof. We do know that Shelby Hicks was driving a 2004 Impala that had paper plates.
Is that your cat or your bird?
That's my cat. Everybody. The second I'm doing something, everybody's being needy.
It's a fucking zoo.
It is. It's a zoo.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Sorry, it is. It's a zoo. But I do have I'm going to have to turn on my other computer because there are so many files that I have still yet to pull over. I got a lot of them done today. But Gabe Ellis, when he was pulled over, he did have, he had night vision goggles in his trunk. He had multiple trail cameras in there. He had several weapons. And we don't have proof of I don't have proof of the plate tag that was on the vehicle that he was driving. I think that a lot of people think that Gabe Ellis was driving a car with paper plates means that the car that was seen at the trails with paper plates was that vehicle. And I can tell you that I don't believe that's true. I believe that the vehicle that people, especially Michelle Wise and law enforcement particularly, were looking at the Impala that Shelby Hicks was driving that day with the paper plates. She had bought a new car. She had 30-day tags on the car. According to her, she pulled in towards the Mears entrance, but there was not enough room for her to park. So she parked along the roadway on 300. Now, at the beginning of her testimony, she made it out as though her and Daniel Pearson arrived together. Up until 3 p.m., there is no eyewitness account of any white truck being parked at the Mears lot. And at the end of Shelby Hicks's testimony, she describes that her and Daniel leave the trails. They leave the Mears lot, and then they drive out to Amish country, and then they drive through Camden.
Hey, wait, Sleuthy says, say that again about the white truck.
I don't personally have any eyewitness account of anyone reporting before 3 p.m. a white pickup truck that Daniel Pearson would have been driving parked at the Mears lot.
Monday says that the paper plates Dodge Charger was a dude, and it's on pics.
It's not a Dodge Charger. The picture. So it was a Dodge Dart that Tina Rodell photographed in her driveway on the morning of February 12th. a Dodge Dart with paper plates. That is the car that her daughter, Megan Allen, left in with multiple individuals. A lot of people believe that that same vehicle was seen at the trails on the 13th. However, I have in the CAD reports documentation that the police were looking for the driver of a vehicle, and what car they are talking about is the 2004 Impala with the white paper plates. And there's no detail of the in-between other than we know where Shelby Hicks parked. She parked on the roadway right outside of the Mears entrance along 300 North because she could not pull in because Mears lot only holds like 2 cars. And if you can't pull in behind someone or you're going to block them in. She claims they left.
No, you can go. Sorry.
She claims her and Daniel left as if her and Daniel left in the same vehicle. They went to Amish country and they
went apple bobbing.
And they went through Camden. Then during her trial testimony, she makes the mistake of saying, then he brought me back to my car. So the issue is, number one, Daniel and Shelby Hicks did not drive in the same vehicle that day. It has been reported, and this is just speculation, and this is just rumor. Daniel Pearson had made multiple statements that he was out at the trails around 1:30. Now, mind you, Shelby Hicks's vehicle was in Lafayette at the dealership having something fixed. So I don't know if she had anticipated picking her car up earlier or her car being ready earlier. I don't know. But they did not drive to the trails together. Daniel Pearson drove a white truck. We don't know where Daniel Pearson parked, but we don't have anybody, Kelsey, David Riley, Betsy Blair, Derek German, or any of them people claiming that there was a white pickup truck parked at the Mears lot. So where was his vehicle? If Shelby is claiming that they drove to Amish country in Camden and then he dropped her off at her vehicle. I believe here's my theory is that Daniel parked somewhere else. He could have parked at the Hoosier Harvest Store. He could have parked out by Freedom Bridge. Walked the trails. No, I don't believe anyone said that they saw a white truck there either.
Boo.
And her testimony was, if you can believe what she says, that her and Daniel left the Monon High Bridge, walked to the Mears entrance, walked up to 300 and left. But were they planning on leaving together, or was she going to drive him to his car? And then when they got to where his car was, they decided to get in his truck and go somewhere. You have to remember, Daniel Pearson was engaged. He was cheating with Shelby Hicks. So it's not like he could take her home, and it's not like they could go to an area that they could both be seen together. So that might explain why they drove through Amish country and drove through Camden. And then he brought her back and dropped her off at her car. Her grandfather says that she had to go in to the police department and explain about where her car was. And is that because her car was sitting near the trails with paper plates and there was no driver around? I don't know. But they did not drive to the trails together.
Okay, a couple things. 26DZV says Dairy Queen's right across the street from CVS. How the F did Kelsey not know who Rick was? Everyone goes to CVS for all kinds of things. And I think that's a really good observation. Then
Shelby Hicks drove a 2004. I believe it was a light blue or silver Impala. Well, Travis, I don't either, but this is the stipulation, and there was never an argument on the record other than this stipulation about any digital footage. And there was no argument about the timestamp on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera. It was just simply a stated fact that the Hoosier Harvest Store camera was 54 minutes fast.
didn't Kelsey drive a Malibu?
A Bonneville.
Oh, okay. I heard something about Malibu with the family.
Well, that's a whole nother issue with the transcripts, because that's why we need the audio from the trial, because Becky Patty said that she was driving a Bonneville, and multiple people that were in the courtroom claimed that Kelsey testified to that she was driving a Mazda. But in the trial transcripts, it's both transcribed as Bonneville in each testimony.
The fuck? Anyways, Michael said he's back. He's ready to talk contempt if you want.
Okay, hang on a minute. Hang on, Michael.
That Travis said you need Michael to explain what the stipulation doesn't do. They are very common.
All right, hang on. I gotta close this out there really quick.
Michael, what did you do? What did you do? You know someone with the same last name as you. How dare you? How dare they have the same last name? That's not fair.
Okay, why? Okay, there we go. Hold on. I just so you guys know, if I don't get to it, I'll get to it tomorrow or Monday. But I have this whole PDF here of all of the discrepancies in all of the depositions that were just released. The discrepancies comparable to the Murphy and Todd Click report.
For building a record.
Okay, let me see here. All right. Michael, here you go.
Streets of Bakersfield is so sick of soup and ice cream. Said no one ever.
She just must have had something done procedure-wise.
Yeah, she had her teeth removed or something, and implants, and her gums hurt, I believe.
That link is for Michael. So there was
my cat doesn't have any top teeth. Sorry.
So I've been looking into one of the this is another big story. So if you guys remember the girl, look, you guys are driving me nuts. You're going to have to get out and stop banging on my door. Go.
Her cats are crazy.
No, my animals don't like closed doors in this house. Like if I'm in a room and the door is closed, that they can't push open, it's like drama. But
my Nana's cat used to be like that. He tore up the carpet underneath the door.
They can't stand it. So the girl, if you guys remember correctly, there was the girl that claimed that she was in contact with Anthony Schatz and got off the school bus. She had given the address to Anthony Schatz, and then a man in a ski mask showed up outside of her house. I have very good reason to believe that in one of the CAD reports that we've went over on this channel, where a mother contacted the police department in regards to messages that were sent to her daughter from another girl. They went out and picked up the phone. I don't know if you guys remember it. I didn't pull that vault episode up because I was working on these discrepancies all day. But I have reason to believe that this girl, the same girl, was out on the trail that day. I'll get to that later, but hi, Michael.
Michael, you're still muted. It's okay. Oh, wait, now it's...
Hey.
I'm here. Just getting a battery for my phone because we know what StreamYard does to phones.
Okay, so breakdown.
Well, let's talk about stipulations first. Basically,
Yes.
It just means we're not going to contest whatever's there, and that the jury has to take it as fact. So, you stipulate to the chain of custody. You stipulate. I was actually talking to Kara the other day, and she said she'd never seen it, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's a tactical decision, and that's why it never happens. And maybe Travis would know better. But boy, if I were a lawyer, I would. If the state's not going to contest that somebody, say like Stacey Eldridge, is an expert, I would have her CV. Stipulate that she's an expert, have her CV, and give the jury copies of the CV instead of standing there wasting their time asking her all their questions. Now, maybe it's more impressive to hear it come out of somebody's mouth, but that's something you could stipulate to as well. You stipulate that somebody's an expert, and you agree just to put their CV in and show it to the jury and enter that in evidence, and they have to take all that stuff as fact.
So can you explain? So the stipulation motion that I just read through, did that cover the digital cameras from the Hoosier Harvest Store? Because we know that the defense never challenged the timestamp on those screenshots. So did that incorporate, when it says all digital evidence, did that incorporate them, or is there something
what is it? It depends on what the stipulations do. I really haven't paid a lot of attention to the stipulations because, another creator who's extremely creative spent a bunch of time being outraged by the stipulations, and they were what they were. It's.
Hi, Eve. Welcome in.
And they were what they were, and the defense did what they did. And as I've said to you a number of times, I'm kind of trying to focus on stuff that will get Rick a new trial, not beating up on anybody and getting outraged about the stipulations. Is just it is almost literally crying over spilt milk.
Hey, Dre Day, that just entered the green room. Can you tell me who you are? Put it in chat. So are you aware of any type of stipulation on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera, or no?
I've heard it. I mean, it's in the stipulation that Diener filed, and I don't know, Brad or Andy signed on to it. I don't know what exactly it says.
So are you shocked to see now the documentation that there were actually 4 cameras on the building?
Well, I don't know that we know. Do we know? I mean, I saw the thing you put up on Twitter. I don't know that. I mean, do we know that all those cameras were working?
Well, we were never told that they weren't.
I don't know. I do know that, Yellow Jacket is already, I mean, Yellow Jacket has already exploded any idea that that's Rick's car. I mean, on what was actually entered into evidence. I mean, it just isn't. The taillights do not line up with the wheels the way they do. So the taillights in the picture on the Hoosier Harvest Store video do not line up with the wheels the same way the taillights line up with the rear wheel in the picture of Rick's car. You don't need an expert. You don't need to figure out, well, maybe that's a Subaru Impreza. It's just not the same car, period. The end. That's over.
Well,
and yes, my information
Do you
is
think
at least,
that's
I don't know about the Hoosier Harvest Store video, but I know the defense. I say no. I mean, a lot in this case, when you say no, you have to put in quotation marks, right? I certainly have information, should be reliable, that there is a ton of video from the businesses around town, and one of the defense lawyers said to 2 people independently, yeah, there was a lot of it and it wasn't relevant, so we didn't look at it.
Well, there's 4 documents that came. I didn't upload all 4 of them because they have minimal information on each one, but this one was the one that had the most information. And this was admitted as an exhibit, and it has 4 cameras listed on there. We don't know if all 4 cameras were working. However, it was never asked by the defense, which of the 4 cameras are we getting footage from? What happened to the other 3? Where were they located? And why don't we have footage from them?
We don't know what the defense did. I do know I believe from one of the investigators. I believe that from one of the investigators, all they had were the muddy pictures from the Hoosier Harvest Store. Whether they have the video or not, I really can't tell you.
Dre
muddy
Day?
as in muddy bloody?
No, muddy is indistinct.
Okay, the shitty. Gotcha.
There's somebody who keeps utilizing the backstage link. Dre Day, I don't know who you are. I see you.
It's Monday, I believe. It said it's Monday.
No, this person's name is Dre Day, not
Yeah,
Monday.
if you check the chat in studio chat, it says Dre Day is Monday. It's my email.
Okay.
Michael, do you think that Yellow Jackets kind of discovery alone, do you think that's enough to really force an appeal or to be, approved or whatever it's called?
Not right. Well, if I were doing the appeal, which I am not, I would certainly include that in the statement of fact, saying, I mean, I don't think, you're not going to win a sufficiency claim, but, you can certainly, look, there are 2 things you have to do with an appeal. And it's the same with habeas. And that is, first, in light of the standards of review, you have to give the court a way to grant relief. And then you have to give the court, you have to make the court want to grant relief. Because if they don't want to grant relief, they will find a way not to. I guarantee it. And so including the photograph, including the thing that Yellow Jacket did, proving, I mean, really beyond any reasonable dispute that that is not Rick Allen's car. You know, I don't know, that doesn't go to giving the court a way to grant relief, but it might be significant in giving, in making the Court of Appeals want to grant relief.
So how do we bribe them? No, I'm kidding.
We don't. They do, yeah. You know, Stacey and Mark are pros. They know what they're doing. They'll do what they're going to do.
Sorry. No, sorry, you can go. Someone had a question. I was just wondering if there was.
I'm trying to catch up on chat. So I have. So with that document, Michael, how Travis asked, how do we know that all 4 cameras were submitted into discovery?
We don't. I mean, look, you know, I'm you know, with some I'm public enemy number 1, with some I'm pariah number 1.
Should we know? Should it have said if we know that they were all working, or like should that have been listed? Is that normal for it not to be listed?
Is it normal for it not to be listed where?
Like anywhere.
I guess, I mean, in terms, yeah.
Anywhere. Like if we have this document that was admitted as an exhibit that lists all 4 cameras, was it not the defense's responsibility to call out the other 3 cameras, where they were they working, where's the footage from them?
And I don't know what it was their responsibility to do, because you know, as Travis points out, we need to know what they had, and I don't know what they had or had, and I you know, I don't know whether they spent any time on it. If one of the investigators is telling me all they had was indistinct pictures, if you take that as true, and that, you know, but I also know that all the investigators, each investigator of the 3, didn't have everything. They were all just down their own rabbit holes. On the other hand, you know, Matt Hoffman caught Brad Weber's van at 2:44. So I'm expecting he may have looked at all the, you know, whatever video there was. I can't speculate as though it is absolutely a waste of time to try to figure out what the defense could have done, should have done. There's stuff that's pretty obvious. And a lot more obvious than this, because we really don't know what they had. I mean, it is obvious that somebody, I mean, if Yellow, from the exhibits as they exist and are public, you know, it's pretty easy to say the defense should have put up a side-by-side or a top, you know, top over bottom, as Yellow Jacket did, and point out to the jury that ain't Rick's car. That ain't Rick's car.
No, Michael Osbrook is not related to Sarah Osbrook.
Not as far as I know.
He's a troublemaker, though, guys. Big time troublemaker, though.
She's the one, among other things, who put up the nutty video about buttonholing Kathy Allen and no wedding ring and the impending divorce, and it's gross.
So I have Let's do this. Let me see.
Somebody's asking how I feel about Erica's live yesterday. It's unhinged. I don't know what you. I will say, I did. Apparently, somebody has shared with her, and I have a pretty good idea. It's one of two people. Shared with her the 31-page memo I wrote before a Zoom meeting with various people. 31-page memo that was mostly about a half dozen things, and the list has now grown to probably a dozen and a half. But then it was a half dozen things that needed to be done now. And as I said in the tweet today, now was 5 months ago. And, I showed that memo to the most experienced post-conviction lawyer in the state, as well as a few other people, other experienced post-conviction lawyers. I think you can imagine who one of them was. Everybody said, yeah, absolutely.
I listened to 5 minutes of it, and then I sent you that message, Michael, but I didn't listen to any more of it. I haven't listened to any of her Delphi Dirt episodes because I know
You made me listen to the fucking thing.
Huh?
You sent me it and you were like, listen to the whole thing. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
And the other thing is,
Made me go through it.
To say that I have no direct connection to the case, in one sense, that's true. I'm not really representing Rick Allen now, that's for sure. On the other hand, I defended Brad and Andy, and I wrote and was the engine behind the motion to correct error that it took me 4 weeks to convince everybody needed to get filed. Actually, more like 6 weeks. And look, that was an incredible group effort. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm responsible for the whole thing. I mean, there were a lot, as I think I've said, there were about 14 people who worked on that. The funny thing about it is, of course, in another live, she said, for a month she was working 18 hours a day on the motion to correct error, and like I've got the email, folks, and like Erica Morse and I happily worked together on various things and spent a lot of time on other things, but she had absolutely nothing to do with the motion to correct error.
Well, did you see that they just reopened the Haley Dunn case?
No.
Yeah, the case that she worked on for years that she was supposed to have solved, they just reopened it.
I listened to the whole live. If she's got connections between things, I mean, I don't know whether this particular rabbit hole has a rabbit at the bottom of it. If she wants to spend her time on the planet looking at it, great, somebody can. And she absolutely has information that, I would love to have. And I'm not talking about discovery. I'm talking about stuff she said she found out during her tenure as an investigator, and actually some stuff that happened afterwards involving DCS with a curious coincidence. And I have literally zero idea why she, why I am the subject / target of so much vitriol from her. I have no idea.
It makes no sense from a professional standpoint why that would even be going on. And it seems her focus is more on berating and belittling others than it is what she's supposed to be, what she's supposed to be doing as an investigator. And I'm going to say it again. Your biggest case and your biggest claim to fame was convicted to 130 years. Put that on your resume, because there's a million things that could have been done from a private investigator standpoint that wasn't done. Starting with this map right here and all of these yellow pins on this map. And this is only half of them. It's taken me a while to get all of them uploaded on here. But everywhere you see a yellow marker is where a camera was installed, and a camera was listed that the state had acquired video footage from around Delphi. And there's absolutely no way that this perpetrator was not caught on camera. And then I've got I've got the route that Kelsey would have taken, not to mention the videos that I've just uploaded with the timed walkthroughs. And we're literally talking, there's a minute and a half in between Kelsey German arriving and Betsy Blair arriving. And if Betsy Blair arrives at the barrier of the Monon High Bridge and there's a man standing on the first platform, if you believe the state's case that the girls arrived after Betsy Blair, the girls are literally a minute and a half on her heels. You take...
Well, I will disagree with you about one thing, and that is that the perpetrator had to have been caught on the HHS camera, and that's
not just the HHS, not just the Hoosier Harvestor camera. There are cameras. There's the camera. The alternative route that the state wants you to believe that he took, there are cameras there as well. And this yellow outline here is Kelsey German's route from her house, which, again, with the new phone data that was released, they had to have pulled over on the way somewhere within here. They pulled over on the side of the road. But this is the Patty's house.
why.
Exactly. We don't know
why. Do they have to have pulled over? No, why do they have to pull over?
Because there is an 8-minute gap from leaving this property, driving this route to getting to the Mears lot. There's an extra 8 minutes there that's unaccounted for.
Oh, I have to look at that again.
Was there any
you may be absolutely right. That was not my impression, but you may be absolutely correct.
I've looked at this route. There's nothing on this route. There's no facility. Now, I can't tell you about the residents along this route. But if you look at the phone data and you look at when they get in the vehicle and the steps stop, there's a time frame where the phone data shows that there are steps that start during this car ride, as if they pulled over and someone got out of the car and walked. I think it's like 30, I think it's like
yeah, that's what I was alluding to.
I'll have to look at that, but that it's the way the Apple Health data is recorded. In other words, if you see X number of steps in like the 10-minute increments, which they're in for the most part, it doesn't mean that the steps ended the steps ended at the end of the 10 minutes. You really don't. You might get the start right at the beginning, but I don't think the end of like the 10 minutes means that the steps ended then.
Well, you can't argue. I mean, this is conjecture, this route, and the time that it took them to get there with the 8-minute extra time added. The fact that they didn't leave the house until 1:40 when it was reported that they had left around 1:30. It takes 30 seconds. I've got it on video from passing the Hoosier Harvest Store camera to get to the Mears lot. So if you're at Mears and you're leaving and you're passing the Hoosier Harvest Store camera, or you're coming in and you're passing the Hoosier Harvest Store camera and going to Mears, it's about 30 seconds even, the distance in a car. You take the 146 and some change of Betsy Blair, and then the 149 photo of supposedly Kelsey's car passing the camera. That leaves a minute and a half of time of, if you're to believe the state's case, and the Hoosier Harvest Store camera timestamps are correct, but the Fitbit data and some other things that we've gone over don't necessarily line up. But if you believe that Betsy Blair arrived before the girls would have been approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds behind Betsy Blair on her heels. How does Betsy Blair see a man on the first platform and Dr. Wallace says Rick Allen was sitting on the bench in front of the 505 trail right there at the trailhead at Mears and followed Abby and Libby to the bridge? He can't
yeah, and you know, that's something that's so Walla has from Rick, or she made it up. And nobody at the trial. Look, this is all tremendously valuable stuff for a retrial. It is not tremendously valuable to get a retrial. And
no, it's not. But when all of this new information, I mean, what Michael, give me a recommendation. What do you want us to do? Do you want us to just ignore all of this information and not thoroughly go through it in the meantime?
Oh no! I think you're spending the time parsing it out. It's terrific. I'm just look. No, the work you're doing is amazing. And you know, I've been focusing on different sort of conflict, but no. I mean, obviously, a lawyer should have stood up and said, you know, cross-examined Walla and said, yeah, well, but, or used it in closing. You know, oh, so we got a false confession here because what? It doesn't fit the forensic fact. You know, that's
I mean, that goes hand in hand with the white van. That goes hand in hand with a lot of things. And I know that you're a defense attorney, and I know that you are defensive when it comes to the defense team. And
no, I'm not. I got IAC claims, you know, as long as 8 tentacles.
This stuff that's just coming out.
A realist.
But the thing, and so I saw one question about it, and people have to realize, you know, ineffective assistance is not going to be raised in a direct appeal. That's just not done in Indiana. We're talking, you know, 5 years or more before any ineffective claims get litigated. And
I agree. Ineffective assistance of counsel is irrelevant right now, but this kind of, and it's not just me. There's many of us out here who are looking at this case and from all different angles and focusing on different things. And it's
Yeah,
very,
God bless you all for doing it.
it's very, it's very frustrating because you want, at the end of the day, the stuff that I know everybody's got their niche, like they all have their niche of what they're focusing on. And for me, it's this timeline. For me, it is where everybody was, who arrived when, how can this person on this first platform be Rick Allen? And my main goal has been, yes, there's all of these different elements to this case and all of these different third-party suspects. But if we can simply prove that it wasn't Rick Allen, that's going to simplify all of this. And to me, we didn't need the odorous third-party suspects. We didn't need Ron Logan. What we needed was someone to attack who was where and when, this Hoosier Harvest Store camera, the arrivals, the routes they took, and who could have possibly been where and seen what and when. That all was admissible in this trial. And that was the major aspect of this case on the defense side that was ignored. And I get they had a shit ton of things they were dealing with. However, this information we've been able to put together. Now, the volumes of exhibits that just came out help solidify some of it. But for the most part, we know what the state's case was, and the state's case wasn't attacked, especially the fact that we've got this unspent round. And that's another thing I want to talk about is Barbara McDonald legitimately having images of the stick figures and legitimately having an image of what was reportedly from law enforcement painted on the tree, drawn on the tree, splattered on the tree, whatever angle that you want to look at it. She had all that information that was accurate that someone in law enforcement gave her. And she publicly went on air and stated that law enforcement told her they collected the bullet days later. And when you listen to the CSI page and the rest of them, I forget their names, Alehi, and there's another one. He's the same CSI guy who worked on the Nicole Bowen case. They all were rerouted in their testimony when it came to the bullet. No one wanted to discuss why there were, we have over 200 plus fantastical images of the crime scene, overhead views, 3D imagery. And then when it comes to the bullet, we have jack shit, basically. And
well, all I know is Matt Hoffman told me there is actually a picture with body parts in it of the bullet there, and I guarantee you they may have found another bullet days later. I don't know.
Well, I think a foot in a crime. I mean, this is just me, but a foot in a crime scene photo is not graphic. I would like to see that image released simply for the fact that, you can tell me that's where the bullet was found. Look right there. You can't see it because of all of the leaves, but there was a bullet there.
Judge Galt, or talk to the Indiana Court of Appeals. All the crime scene pictures have been sealed.
Yeah. So back to this matter.
Those are the ones that try. Those are the ones at trial. But speaking of crime scene pictures, can I just say about 3 words about contempt in crime scene pictures?
Oh no! Here, let me pull this down.
Ooh, tell us.
I want really quick, I want everybody to take a look at this map because I'm still adding to it. All of these yellow dots, all of these yellow pinheads on here are where the cameras were in Delphi. And I'm still adding to it. And there's several that are on the outskirts of town. And if you look right here is 1967 Whiteman Drive, where Rick Allen lived. And there's cameras everywhere. And the fact that
and I have a request out. I have a request out for the footage.
Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen. So let's talk about, I know that you've been hot and heavy on the contempt information from the contempt hearing. And first, before you go into the details of that, I want you to explain why now the information about the contempt hearing is going to make a difference if you can prove that it was all bullshit.
Well, it makes a difference because it becomes state interference with counsel. Now, that's a post-conviction claim and way down the road, but at the same time, witnesses do disappear, either by accident or otherwise. Memory fades, so developing that evidence is important, but it's also important for people to know, I think, what I mean, everybody talks about we're talking a lot tonight about stuff the defense screwed up. I mean, they were distracted for at least 2 months by this contempt stuff, and there are kind of 3 points I want to make. One, I highly recommend that people go back and look at, so it's on All Eyes GitHub site. Look at the contempt transcript. There is literally nothing other than rank hearsay that connects Mitch Westerman to any of those photographs. Nothing. Second, the only thing that connects by inference the defense to any of the photographs that seem to have been introduced as evidence at the contempt hearing, and that's in Exhibit 5, and those pictures have been sealed. The only thing that ties the defense to any of those pictures is Holman saying one of the pictures appears to be a side-by-side, and he said that came from the defense because they showed it to him at his deposition. Okay. Comes from the defense doesn't mean it came from Westerman, right? Now, as counsel of record for Brad and Andy in the contempt proceeding, along with Dave Hennessy, I have seen Holman's August 10th, 2023 deposition. Side-by-side were introduced as exhibits on that August 10th deposition. At the contempt hearing, Holman said he didn't sign that because there were so many mistakes in it, I believe. And I think that's the deposition he was referring to. In the normal course of events, after a deposition, the deposition will be sent to the person who did it to sign, and it will be sent by the company who hired the court reporter, or the court reporter, him or herself, to the defense lawyers the deponent, namely Holman, and to McClellan. And in the normal course of events, the exhibits will be attached. Copies of the exhibits will be attached to the depositions, the copies that are sent to everybody, which is to say that Holman and McClellan had copies of those side-by-sides. So the inference that those only could have come from the defense is total BS.
So
Oh,
how,
I just had a good question in chat.
What?
it's on the screen. All eyes had a question.
No, the defense certainly had crime scene photos as a no question, but I think look, I don't know when or why they redacted them, but I just I just want to get it out there that there's really this case was totally, without Westerman's testimony, they had no case against Brad and Andy. And my guess is that even with Westerman's testimony, they wouldn't have had a case against Brad and Andy. I'm not aware. There is nothing that could not have come from somewhere else.
So where do you think the photos came from? Do you think it came from the state?
I don't know. I would say that the Tweedles are certainly a possibility.
Not them. No way. They wouldn't.
Well, don't you find it strange how, well, we don't have all of the information that was being filtered from Nick McClelland to Fig Solves or the employee inside Judge Gall's office.
Look, there were crime scene photographs in the wild as early as June of 2017. There
were crime scene photos of what?
In the wild, out there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Publicly shared as early as June in 2017. That's in the Orion file. Then you have the prosecutor saying they've been sent pictures, or they've been offered pictures in June of 2023, January of 2023. Then you have Doug Carter, and by the way, that's before the protective order. And it's almost as if the protective order was requested by McClelland in response to I think the protective order request was something like the 13th of February, strangely enough. Maybe it was a little earlier. I think it was entered on the 17th. Maybe it was entered on, I don't have the dates, but it was mid-February when the whole protective order thing started happening in 2023. In February, at the end of February of 2023, Doug Carter is saying publicly, there are crime scene photos out there, folks. I mean, this is...
Well, real quick, we have somebody who was on the channel who discussed being sent crime scene photos from that day during the while the crime scene was being investigated, with the girls still in the foreground, photos being sent out.
Yeah, I think there was a Logansport reporter out there.
No, this was a civilian. This is not a journalist. This is somebody who knew somebody who was there, and and this person reportedly stated that what the leaked crime scene photos look like is not how the crime scene looked that she saw.
Well, I would love to talk to that person, and I would love to see the pictures she was sent. I mean, again, it's like people, you know, it's what you can prove. And what I'm saying is, I can't prove that the picture at the moment. I'm working on it. I can't. I'm going to need some help. Some people involved are actually going to have to start talking. I can't prove that law enforcement released those pictures, or the Tweedles did, or I have reason to think McClelland was not involved. Although I do have reason to believe that, and it's actually public, so I don't need to pussyfoot around it. The pictures supposedly hit the internet October 4th, probably in the night. I don't know that we have a time. McClelland is apparently screaming to somebody on September 30th about the pictures being out there.
Okay, but was he even the prosecutor at that time?
Oh yeah, yeah. He became the prosecutor in Carroll County in December of 2018, 2017.
So you're talking these photos. You're talking about him screaming in 2018, not 2017. Then.
No, I'm talking about him screaming in 2023.
Oh, okay. Okay.
4 days before they were supposedly out there. And he said under oath in the contempt information, I heard about it from the families, plural. Well, we know it wasn't the families, plural. I heard about it from the families in early October. Not true. So what I started to say was, I can't prove that the pictures, whom the pictures came from, but I can absolutely blow up. I mean, the state's own evidence blows, and Holman's deposition blows up any necessary inference that the crime scene photos came, including the side by side, came from the defense. The state literally had no case.
So with all this information, what do you do with it?
Oh, working on developing. Well, it's going to take some people talking, and working on those people, and we'll see. It's the story of this case is that people know stuff and are both know stuff and are in a position to do stuff, and either out of fear, cowardice, or both, they won't do it.
I agree with that. There's a lot of people out there that just, refuse to talk. I don't know if it's because they've been hounded nonstop, or they're afraid of, mainly with me, the people that I've communicated with that are local, they're just afraid of backlash. They don't want their name being out there. They're tired of hearing about the Delphi case. And it makes it really hard to get any information from anybody.
I'm kind of curious what Travis is saying is a big deal, but it isn't. Chain of custody?
hold on a second. Let me find it. Is it this one?
Michael, do you hear your cat? You hear it?
Yeah. He's at the he was in here and he wanted out. Now he's out. Now he wants in. Is this the let me see. Looking.
Michael, so I was watching Truth and Transparency a couple of days ago, and she was reading the transcript, and I'm one of those for sidebars too. And apparently, during one of the sidebars, they were contemplating. Oh, sorry, what did you say?
She was reading the transcript of what?
Of the day that the family kind of testified, and during one of the sidebars, it had that transcript for that too. I think it was Baldwin. I don't know, but one of the defense lawyers basically says, "I don't want to question Anna Williams about her connection with Patrick Westfall or something. This would not have been in front of the jury and everything." He said he would rather have deferred to deferred to her earlier deposition because he didn't want to put her through that. And I was just like, it just sounded like it was like I just couldn't believe what he was saying there, because it wouldn't have been in front of the jury. I don't understand like what the negative of that doing that would have done.
The negative of what? Confronting Becky Patty with a deposition?
No, Anna Williams. Basically, he would have questioned her outside of the presence of the jury about her kind of connection with Patrick Westfall. And he said that he would have, instead of doing that, said, "I don't want to put her through that. I'm going to defer to the deposition." I'm wondering what would be the
into evidence? Did he put the deposition into evidence?
I'm not 100% sure on the follow-up. I don't, but I do know that they kind of contested it a little bit, though.
Unless he's making an offer to prove of some sort. I mean, I don't know what went on there. This is getting into the third party stuff, and I mean, that's weak tea compared to confessions.
Oh no, I was just curious about it. I was just genuinely curious, like what the reasoning for that was. Sony Doya said it better. He wanted to proffer testimony from Anna regarding Patrick Westfall, but entered the deposition instead. So apparently, it isn't. Yes, all I says it is in evidence.
Well, then you can go read the deposition and see what it says. I mean, I don't know why he. Yeah.
Okay, I just was curious. Appreciate that.
Look, the reason to do that, if the state kind of agrees to it, I mean, I'm not sure I'd agree to it if the state, but if he got good answers, to the deposition, then he doesn't want her testifying again and changing her story.
No, that's good. We got to look at that again. See what was in there then. That's interesting. Thank you.
I mean, Travis might disagree with me, but that's the only thing I can think of why you stick the deposition in lieu of going over it with her in front of Gull. I mean, if you got what you wanted, there really is no reason to put her through it again.
Did you see Travis's follow-up question? Michael, you won the contempt. The contempt charging document misrepresents anything. Does this impact credibility of Holman, others? Where does it fit in? Response to bar referral.
Well, I think again, all I've got is a screenshot, and somebody needs to start talking. But McClelland, if you believe the screenshot, and it's from somebody who ought to know, McClelland knew about the leaked photograph 4 days before he said he did. He said he learned in early October. It's just out and out not true. And I have other reasons to believe it's not true. The other thing that's a little weird is McClelland at the hearing, so this isn't misrepresentation in the contempt document, but McClelland, as I read the contempt hearing, and by the way, I have not memorized it. I need to go do that because there's a lot of fancy dancing in there around all kinds of things, and what exactly people said is important. But it is not mentioned in the contempt hearing, but was raised not mentioned in the contempt information, but was raised at the contempt hearing that the defense had also leaked the Turco report. Why are you raising that at a contempt hearing when you didn't allege it as one of the grounds for contempt? Or why didn't you amend the information? I don't recall whether Dave Hennessy objected on relevance grounds, but the other thing that's pretty interesting is that I think it's in Holman's mouth, it's certainly in McClelland's mouth, that the leak, quote, is ongoing. Well, yeah, people are still flipping the stuff around among themselves, but there's no proof that there's new stuff coming out from the defense. The hearing is crazy. It's just nuts. If I were McClelland, I'd be embarrassed.
Well, I feel like they were doing anything and everything to get the defense. They attempted to get them kicked off, and then finding them in contempt when there at the time there was so much evidence. There was more evidence that was nefarious on Nick's side. It's one thing that you have a colleague who comes in and snaps a photo of some crime scene photos in a room that you're not in. That was horrific that happened, but it wasn't consensual. On Nick's side of the fence, he is consenting, and I'm sorry, but I believe that Holman, Nick McClelland, and more than likely a couple of others were not only sharing information with Fig Solves, but also with murder sheets. Someone was spilling information that allowed them, they had information that they should not have had, especially with being a brand new podcast coming on the scene. During that whole Wabash search and them knowing the movements of Keegan Kline, this search that supposedly took place at Keegan's grandparents' backyard, the red Jeep, all of these things that they leaked before any of it was ever in a document came from somewhere, and none of it benefited the defense.
Those two were the most useful idiots ever. That's all I'm going to say.
That's why I feel like there was a big ordeal going on behind the scenes with these crime scene photos. Do
not forget that Fig in a Discord message said, and I think it's an exact quote.
Delete everything.
It doesn't matter who it came from, it being the leak of the crime scene photos. It's a win.
Yeah. But it wasn't a win for the defense. And that right there speaks volumes, that it wasn't a win for the defense.
So apparently Murder Sheet LLC on June 7th, 2021. I don't know if that date means anything to you guys, but I think that's might be interesting.
Well, and you know, when I say cowardice or fear or something, you know, people aren't doing things, I mean, that includes pushing back on the Tweedles. I mean, there are plaintiffs in a position to sue the hell out of them. And I have certainly notified those folks. And yes, they've got 2 years to do it, but having, and I've said this too, having some of the allegations in the Tweedles execrable book out there unrebutted is not helpful, right? I said you want to give some, in an appeal, you want to give people, you want to give the court a way to win, and you also want to make the court want to grant relief. And, you know, having some of these unrebutted allegations that are just false, that you know, Janice called up, Rick's mother called up law enforcement and said Rick had confessed to her. You know, you got to push back on that. Well, no, I mean, but you know, Rick's mother and probably Kathy and maybe some other people are in a position, you know, to sue their sorry.
Well, they're the one. I mean, they're the ones really holding the cards as far as when it comes to Rick and the information that we've all been trying to acquire as far as pushing back. And, you know, we've got this group of people out here claiming to be speaking for Kathy and for Rick that a lot of us have called bullshit on, because what they're doing is not benefiting Rick in any way. Especially when it causes division and dissension amongst the community in support of Rick. But, you know, we only have the documents and the information and the factual stuff to go on that's been released without speculating. What I see going on over there is a lot of ambiguous information being put out, that, you know, everything is what's the word I'm looking for? It's all like cryptic. They, you know, they want you to believe that they have information, but yet they're not providing the information, and they're not providing proof of where it's coming from. They're alluding to all of these things, and at no point in time, other than the Hulu documentary, have we heard from Kathy Allen. And I mean, I don't know how much more pushing back that we can do without somebody coming off some real detrimental information that's going to help Rick. All we can do is sit here and piecemeal and argue and go over with a fine-tooth comb the information that we have. And it seems like we know more. You know, I don't know about everybody else, but I know that we have spent hundreds of hours over here working on timelines and, you know, the cameras and statements. And as the information comes out, and we have worked out different timelines and information, and then we've had to go back and adjust based on the information that we had wasn't completely true, or we now have more factual information to contradict what we thought. And that's still true with the information in these 15 volumes that's out. You know, I've spent this entire day at this computer dissecting all of these depositions and writing out a complete discrepancy list based on what all of the people, Elvis Fields, Rod Abrams, Brad Holder, the mysteriously omitted Patrick Westphal deposition. And for those of you who don't know, if you look up Patrick Westphal's criminal history, he's very thorough on how to hire an attorney and get shit done. So if you want to know why he got out of providing a whole ass deposition, I'm sure he was able to do that because he knows the law and he has been capable in the past. I mean, he's fought tooth and nail every single case that he's been charged. And it's also my understanding that a lot of his criminal record has been wiped and you can't see all of it. But I've worked on all of these depositions today, and I was trying to hone it all down to 20 key points of discrepancies. And I'm now almost at 30 because there's just so many. And starting with, for me, the biggest conundrum of this whole situation with those guys from the Patrick Westphal and Brad Holder group to the Rushville group is the fact that you've got Brad Holder being investigated up front, right off the bat. You've got Professor Turco being contacted as early as the end of February, to where he is offering a report by the first week of March. That's how quickly law enforcement was into this Odinism, runes, or Viking history that they were looking to seek information on. You've got all of this going on, and then weeks later, you've got not one, but two sisters coming out of the woodwork reporting incriminating statements that their brother made, Elvis Fields, and lo and behold, he has a direct social media connection to Brad Holder. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
There's a lot of shit here you can't make up. One thing, maybe just another crazy friggin' coincidence in Delphi, right?
Yeah.
Let me finish the thought. So Turco's contacted the end of February of 2017.
Correct.
Brad's on the case in November of 2022. Gets Andy on. They don't get the Turco report from Nick McClelland until guess when?
It's a while, but I'm sure drop the date.
9:38 p.m. the night of October 4th, 2023, the same time the crime scene leak came out.
Yeah.
Wait, say that one more time.
Kobe, stop.
McClelland, after earlier in the day, Andy had finally requested the Turco report. They didn't have it. McClelland sends it to him at 9:38 at night on the 4th of October at about the same time. I don't know whether it's before or after, but about the same time the crime scene leak is supposed to be occurring.
And
That's a coincidence.
did you read through the Turco deposition?
I have not read through the Turco. I've just had 1,000 pages dumped on me, and I'm going through that.
It's
and it's not 1,000 pages I'm not entitled to, by the way. It's 1,000 pages I'm very much entitled to.
it's trash. It is trash. It contradicts everything that he said since 2017. It absolutely contradicts everything, which, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of a sacrificial killing here.
What's the date of the Turco deposition?
Oh, all eyes. If you're in here, can you drop that? It was right before the trial. I got to pull it up.
So is he kind of confronted with his report?
He's confronted with his report. Brad Rosie does a really good job of basically pinning him down. I mean, All Eyes says March 21st, 2024. He is very combative. Basically, they had to pull out the audio recording of his interview. And he still even tried to argue that those weren't his words. All Eyes just put the deposition link in the chat, Michael. They're playing his words and he's trying to argue what his words mean. It's ridiculous. And he wants to portray himself as not being an expert or knowledgeable on runes, yet he's continuously answering questions and describing what the runes are that he sees. Under your scars, thank you. It's just him and what's her face? Robinson, the FBI agent, her deposition, both very, very, very disappointing. Very disappointing. She downplays everything and she pretends she doesn't remember. She pretends she doesn't know shit. It's literally, it feels like it feels like a massive conspiracy, which duh. You can't, I mean, like I said, you can't make it up. Yeah, Tsunami Doya. Yeah. He's arguing his shoulder shrug that you can't see in the audio version of his report. One of the other big things that I had an issue with in these depositions were Rod Abrams, adamantly describing he knows exactly where he was on March 13th. And he was in Muncie at the hospital seeing his friend. They arrived before noon on the 13th. And he knows where he was because he remembers watching on the television the report about the two missing girls in Delphi, who at that time weren't missing and they weren't on the news. Then you've got Brad Holder and his deposition with his work schedule and then his workout membership check-in doesn't align. And then he even states in his deposition that he might have texted Brad, or he might have texted Patrick Westfall when the girls were missing and said, hey, did you hear what happened or hear what's going on with my son's girlfriend? And when he was asked, well, where was Patrick Westfall at the time? He said, I think he said he was out of town. I think I don't quote me. I think that Brad Holder claimed that Patrick Westfall said he was in Michigan. So why would Patrick Westfall be lying to Brad Holder about where he was when we know that Patrick Westfall, in his own words, said he was at home in Delphi with his son?
No idea. Can I respond to something Trial Junkie put down there?
Yeah.
The Trial Junkie says, Rick's lawyers are about to file his appeal. I don't believe any new lawyers are being looked into right now. So there's the post-conviction investigation aspect of it. Yeah, nobody seems to be looking into that. There was the civil lawsuit against the DOC. Yeah, nobody's looking into that, it looks like. And the third thing, but these are unrelated to that. These are just unrelated to the appeal. And then there's civil suit against the Tweedles, against Pegasus Publishing, against the Daily Mail. Now the Daily Mail is a problem. Somebody put chat that, got to find lawyers, pay them for the cost up front because that kind of litigation is expensive. No, I don't think it would be. This would be really simple. It would be a real simple libel case, at least against the Tweedles. It would be more complicated, obviously, to sue the Daily Mail in England, although the standards for libel are a lot lower there than they are here. And all of those things, most people, most thoughtful people would think were needed to be done. And, the only explanation is, everybody's keeping their heads down and keeping their fingers crossed for an appeal, which I, like everybody else, hope succeeds, but which I am much more pessimistic about than some others.
No, I'm with you on that.
And there are some really concerning things sort of about the geometry of it that I'm just not going to go into.
No, you have to go into that. You can't tease me that.
Yeah, I'm not. Everybody. Look, I'm rooting for Stacey and Mark as much as anybody else. And if anybody can pull it off, they can.
Okay, I just had to say it at least because everyone in chat was thinking it.
Well,
and I will also say Stacey and Mark are well aware of what I'm worried about.
That's good to know because, it's just good to have at least someone who's got a little bit of the pulse of the discussion online, being able to talk to the lawyers.
It's a pretty clipped conversation. I'm not really the flavor of the month with them either, I don't think.
Well,
but they do know what they do know what I'm worried about. They may not be worried about it, but I'm not the only one worried about it.
Shush. Little details. You don't need to think about those.
Shabug says, is there any shot Kathy knows the feds involved and others don't? I don't.
Any chance the feds are involved?
I don't think so.
I mean, there's a chance. I mean, I have no reason to believe the feds are interested in this.
I mean, I don't have faith right now in the FBI and pursuing, especially a case like this. They have enough shit on their table right now with CSAM and, you know, trafficking and all of that, and they don't seem to be very willing to be on the up and up. I don't see that happening, and especially after reading Robinson's deposition, she didn't seem to be. I was anticipating for, and maybe it was just me. I had the impression that Robinson, the special agent FBI who wrote the search warrant for Ron Logan's property, I was anticipating her being gung-ho on Ron Logan and the case in general, and that is not the impression that I got at all from her deposition. It seemed that she was completely backpedaling and completely pretending to not remember. And I just literally, I was laying in bed on my laptop reading it, and I just really wanted to punch my screen. Like, are you freaking kidding me? So if you guys haven't,
Amy, did you? So, Amy, True Crime with Eve did post this 2 days ago. Apparently, Stanley was out of the hospital on 2/10/2017, and he definitely didn't go back.
so
13th.
Laura, your microphone is cutting out bad. I only caught half of it, but I think I know where you're going with that. You're talking about the guy who was in the hospital that Rod Abrams and them.
Yeah, is this better?
Talk a little bit more.
Is this better?
Yeah.
La 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 chickens. Awesome. Yeah, I think I just had it too close because.
Yeah, they did reopen Flora, but Flora is a whole different type of case. That's an arson case. You're not dealing with child trafficking or a possible drop box of child predators, etc. And when I go to Indy, I am trying to incorporate the Miami courthouse into the trip to view the documents that they say that you have to come in person to view in Keegan's case. So I don't know what's on file there, but I'm hoping something more than what we already know is available to be viewed.
Well, the Flora case does have a lot of investigative overlap, like the personnel. So, personnel. I don't know. That's not the connection.
One can hope that the reopened investigation into Flora stumbles onto something Delphi, Rick Allen related. But that's and yeah, I mean, one can hope for the appeal. One can hope for the FBI and Flora, dig up something about Delphi they're willing to share. I mean, I have to say that the U.S. attorneys and the FBI in general, I've just gotten appointed in a case where there's a disclosure decades later that they didn't really know about, and I got to figure out what to do with it. And good on them for making the disclosure.
Trial Junkie, elaborate what's being discussed on other channels that we don't like. We're not the ones over here throwing shade. That comes from a whole other side of this case that none of us provoked or asked for, and I've been taking it as a grain of salt. Like I don't get on here night after night or weekend after weekend and spend 3 or 4 hours on a live berating and ridiculing and name calling. I just don't do that. That's not what I'm here for. If they're talking about it, great. And
well, let me cast a little shade and a little light at the same time. I absolutely agree with some of the folks out there that there are serious questions to be asked about the BG video. It's just not the questions they're asking. And the questions are, how do you shoot a video with a locked phone and without the camera app?
exactly.
The camera doesn't it?
No,
And
because
how do you have opt-in out activity 2 seconds after the video ends?
yes, there are strong indicators that Westfall could possibly be involved in the Flora fire. And
So trial. Let me say something. Trial Junkie says she thinks it's impossible to figure this crime out, and I think it's because people have been covering something up, and there are lots of lies. I'm going to repeat myself because I think it's important. There are two. My interest in this case is freeing Rick Allen, because I am 100%, well, 99.9% convinced he had nothing to do with this for all kinds of reasons.
who's that? Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
That Rick Allen. And so there are two ways of undoing Rick's convictions. One is actually solving the crime. And I think that's what Trial Junkie's talking about. And I have no great hope that little old me is going to contribute much to actually solving the crime. But the other way is to prove Rick had nothing to do with it. Whoever did it, however it was done. And I think that's doable. My 2 cents that I've spent too many times.
You should keep talking, Michael. I'm enjoying this.
And, preparing the ground for retrial is important work too. I mean, look, I don't disagree with Christine Salter. I don't think everybody should go down their own rabbit holes and be happy and feel all warm and cushy. I think rabbit holes are rabbit holes, and you're not likely to find a rabbit at the bottom of them. But there's important work that can be done based on the known forensic evidence, and we can get more forensic evidence. Working on getting more forensic evidence, and people need to start talking. Witnesses need to be talked to. Somebody out on the trail actually ID'd Bridge Guy from a photograph.
Well, there's
Wait.
Right. I mean, there's and I know what you're talking about, and I get, the defense right now holds a lot of cards, to be honest. That it's, Andrew Baldwin is going on this crusade of doing interviews, etc. But the answers lie all within the discovery that the evidence and the exhibits that were admitted at trial that are public information. He has to be fully aware of the games that the court is playing with releasing the information. And he could simplify all of that by just making it available. It is legally public information. And that is the information that is needed for,
What's public information?
the exhibits at trial, all of the exhibits that, besides the ones that are sealed, which are the crime scene photos, we still have yet to get all of them. The volumes that were released now are pre-trial. The majority of them are pre-trial, but we're still waiting on all, them filing a motion to basically reverse the confidential exhibits that were filed with the Franks motion, which some of that was just released because it was pre-trial, but there's still a lot of information that could be made available. The enhanced BG video, I believe there were 3 videos played at trial, and there's only been 1 released. There's a lot of things that the defense could be doing to help us help them. They may not have time to work on this case, but the reality is that there's a bunch of us out here who are willing to put in the work, and not everything that we come up with is going to be, prudent to helping whatever happens in this case. However, some of it will be. A lot of it will be. The timeline, they don't have the time to go out and walk these routes and time these routes and, do a Google map of showing, let's triangulate where all of these cameras were and pin down, this is all legwork that everybody is volunteering to help with. And they really could be doing a lot more to help us help them. And that's frustrating. I'm with you on, some of these witnesses Betsy Blair, who could have long before now spoke out, at least given 1 interview. Kay Weber, who reportedly stated that the FBI came all the way out to Arizona and interviewed her in person and showed her a photograph of a man on the bridge and wanted to know if she could identify him. And she said no, that she couldn't because he had a face covering on. Where did that photo come from? We still don't know how many active trail cams were actually out there in the woods. We know where there were some located, but that we only have 1 image that the state claimed was a fireman on the trail camera that was north of the crime scene. And you could see an image at dark time. Well, what about in the daytime? Were there people seen on that trail cam during the day? That question was never asked. There was a lot of things there's a lot of things that we can help with that we just, we're not getting. We're not being given the information. We can push back all that we want. And I wish Kathy Allen, I don't care who she chooses, but if Kathy Allen would agree to communicate and work with one of us, that information will trickle out to all of us and we can help. And I just don't think that she realizes, and maybe she does, and maybe that's the scary thing for her. But for a lot of people, when I see people online complaining about these extensions that the appellate team was just granted, you have no idea what you're in for. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to have extension after extension. We haven't even had the appeal drop yet, let alone the extensions that we're going to foresee from the state to respond to the appeal. This is going to be drug out for forever, which is why I agree with Michael that it really should have been considered that the direct appeal should have been started alongside of a post-conviction relief investigation. Otherwise, the gaps in times, the gaps in the picking up.
If only we had a lawyer.
Well,
if only there was a lawyer who could do it. who would have volunteered. Oh,
Maybe even 2.
Right.
maybe. Nah.
I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that, I mean, Michael and I disagree on. I'm not an attorney. I'm a civilian, but I do work on these things diligently. But there's a lot of things that Michael and I disagree on. But I can tell everybody who is listening right now and who is listening on replay, if anybody doubts Michael Osbrook's intentions when it comes to clearing Rick Allen's name, he is 150% genuine on that. Nobody spends the amount of time that he spends working on combing through and attempting to find ways to help this man who doesn't have good intentions, period. And he can be as argumentative as some of you. He's an attorney. That's his nature. That's what he does. And it's his nature to defend the Constitution and all of the legalese aspects of upholding the oath of an attorney. He's not going to come on here and bash the system like I think a lot of us, including me, sometimes would like to see him do. That's just not his nature. And you have to respect that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the lawyer that he is. But at the same time, he's doing the good work, and he's fighting a hard system, and he's walking the fence of traditional work and the new age work, which is social media impacting legal cases, and he's trying to find a balance. And all of us want attorneys to pay attention to what we're doing out here in the alternative media source atmosphere. And that's exactly what Michael Osbrook has been doing. He's been paying attention. He's been participating. He's got feelers on the ground, and he's being bashed for that. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, you're going to find out it's going to benefit someone at some point in this case, because this approach was accepted. He's taken the time to participate and tune in to what we're all saying. And I guarantee you, the appellate attorneys and the defense team don't know this case as well as Michael Osbrook because of his interaction on social media. That doesn't make him a bad guy, makes him smart. So I'm going to step off my soapbox.
Well, that was embarrassing.
Clap.
Thank you. Great Lakes says something that I'm rolling around in the mud with all you, with the plebs. I am a pleb, so, I've got, I have a little more access. And, frankly, to give you an idea of how personal this all is, if people were worried about Kara's and especially my, quote, social media presence, somebody could have said, would you sign an NDA? I might have, I might not have. I probably would have. But nobody ever even suggested that. So it was totally personal as far as I'm concerned. And that's fine. People get to make the decisions they make. And, if they want to put all their eggs in the direct appeal basket, boy, all I can do with all you is keep doing the timeline, keep doing the phone data, keep doing whatever's available, and try to make more stuff available. There are a few questions I haven't asked the appellate lawyers, but all I said, she's working on getting, for instance, the trial version of the 43-second BG video. I would love to know if the 43-second version of the BG video introduced at trial is the same the video that was in the phone data that was given to me. And if it's not, there are going to be some very big questions to be answered.
Such as?
As to where the video originated, how it got on the phone, when the phone locked for the last time. Didn't the phone lock for the last time at 2:08?
207, 208, something like that. I mean, it was locked. It was locked before the video. It was locked right after. It was locked right after the Abby Bridge Snapchat pic. If that's what happened.
Which doesn't exist on the phone either. And then,
well, more importantly, there's no, at least in one of the reports, and it doesn't exist in any others, but in one of the reports, there are no Snapchat uploads after July of 2016.
well, and I know that on a recent interview that Andrew Baldwin just gave, he agreed that the Snapchat app was not on Abby's phone or on Libby's phone.
No, it's not. It's not on Libby's phone. At least not on what I have. It's not on what I have. But what I'm saying is, on the phone or not, I mean,
it was tampered with then.
Why isn't it listed? Why isn't it listed as having been uploaded? Why is no Snapchat?
It had to have been tampered with.
Why? Well,
if it's not on the phone.
And who was sophisticated enough to do that? That's what I want to know. I don't think Bunner, and I don't think people.
Well, do you? Yep. I mean, maybe, and now that that's out in the open, that the Snapchat app was not on the phone. If you remember, Michael, I had sent you some information a while back about when we were going over the data on the phone and the events, and there was the link for the configuration of the app developer, and there's that same link was an alternative to something else. That is still something that do you remember what I'm talking about? And I was pointing out that it's the same developer as Snapchat, but the purpose of its use on an iPhone with that developer was not compatible with that phone. It would have basically it would have been some sort of a like a third part. It would have been a third party download that was more of spyware on a phone.
Send me this info.
I will.
Send me this info because I'll have
It was it could be spyware that someone sent Libby a link to download, and it even could not. It wouldn't have even been removed from the phone after the rebooting of the phone. And I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it's something to look into, because I'm not really aware of how you would access Snapchat without the app.
You wouldn't.
There's not like a www.com Snapchat. It has to be through the app, which is very bizarre that the Snapchat app was not on the phone. And was it deleted after the video or before they got to the bridge? Go ahead.
Snapchat app. Snapchat apps on the phone.
No. Even Andrew Baldwin in his one interview just recently said that no, the Snapchat app was not on her phone. And when you look at the exhibits and you look at her screen that they photographed, there is no Snapchat icon on her phone, as if the Snapchat app was downloaded. She would have a Snapchat icon, the little yellow box with the white ghost in the middle.
Well, I will go look, but I can tell you,
Or it was
in the half hour before the bridge guy video.
I'm stepping away for 1 second. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm stepping away for just 1 second to bring my dog upstairs. You guys keep talking.
In the half hour before the bridge guy video, she's getting Snapchat pictures. Snapchat app is on that phone. I'll go check. I mean, I'll put it on number one thing to check.
Then it was deleted. Then it was deleted at some point. It had to have been deleted at some point because the app, it should have been on the screen, and her home screen was not full. There was still room for apps on that home screen, and Andrew Baldwin said, "You're right. The Snapchat app was not on the phone."
And he didn't do the phone stuff, so Jennifer did it. So I think he's wrong. And I think he's wrong because the Snapchat app is used at 207 in the Abby pick. I mean, if it is the Abby pick, it's used at 207. It says Snapchat. So I look, the phone data, you know, I and a number of other people think the phone data is possibly just uselessly unreliable.
Give me 1 more minute. You guys keep talking.
There was something here I wanted to respond to. What was it? Was something under your scar said. Oh, it was something under your scar said about, I think it was about me defending Erica and why she's coming after me. I don't know why, but no, what happened to Erica is I don't view as irrelevant. I think she was targeted. And I defended Erica because I saw the documents attached to the probable cause affidavit in her cat case. And in the documents, from those documents, with, you know, they're publicly available, publicly is in quotation marks. Any lawyer can get them because you have to be able to log into my case to get the documents. But it was A, from the documents, it was clear it was nonsense. B, her husband was there at the house when the cops showed up. And why wasn't he charged? C, Pat Cicero. So this is happening, I think it was October 24th of 2024. The trial was happening. She was at the trial. What is Pat Cicero, a major in the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department, doing investigating a frigging cat case? And if you believe Erica, and I think I do, you'd have to check with the journalist involved. What is the public information officer for the Indiana State Police doing at the trial, trying to peddle a video of Erica's house to a reporter saying, "Have I got a scandal for you?"
Now, let me just clarify for the record. Michael Osbrook, from day one, has been in this situation, has defended Erica Morris this whole entire time in this situation, as she has repeatedly bashed him. I just wanted to make that clear. Keep going,
Well,
Michael.
look, I
it says a lot about a person that, yeah.
I want her defended. I mean, look, she's got information. You know, she did work on this case. I don't know how useful it is. I know I spent 2 days or even more going down a particular rabbit hole that, you know, went almost nowhere. There was one thing interesting about it, but it wasn't worth 2 days. And look, people who know stuff, you know, are important in the effort to get Rick out. And it was interesting. She mentioned the 8 terabyte hard drive she has, and I think that's actually, at least possibly, my 8 terabyte hard drive that I gave the defense. I mean, you all have to realize the defense didn't even have. I went up in May of 2024, spent an afternoon up there showing those folks how to put at least a number of to get the 20. I think it was 20. It was 25 different drives they had, and it was about 20 terabytes of stuff. And I spent the afternoon. I took USB hubs up. I took, I think, 2, at least 1, but maybe 2 high capacity hard drives up, and spent the afternoon showing them how to set everything up so they could search the 20 or so terabytes of discovery all at once. There was also another problem, and that is the discovery as they got it, and as far as I know, they didn't bother doing it. The discovery that wasn't video, and to be fair, a ton of the discovery was video, so that's a lot of the 20 terabytes. But none of the PDF had been OCR'd, so they weren't searchable.
Oh, that's a special kind of evil. You do that. Like going through all these transcripts.
And the information is, by the way, that so they shouldn't have, but they did. They handed the discovery back to McClelland after they were removed. And when they got it back, it was different. I won't say all messed up, but it was different. It wasn't the same as they got it the first time. So, yeah, I have no direct connection to the case. I have no direct connection to the case.
Did they get? Wasn't there a bunch of like seemingly unrelated stuff in that when they got it back too, like some blue jeans with blood from Florida or something like that? I specifically remember that one.
No, that's something else. So that's Greeno's jeans, and that's Greeno's jeans, and that's a whole nother story. That Delphi was not interested in those until the Florida Sheriff's Department got involved, and once they were involved,
Chelsea. Yeah, well, there was the jeans and the this is responding to Chelsea about the unidentified dead guy. I don't believe that photograph was from Florida. That was of an individual by the name of Blaine. Is it Blaine Wilson? Michael?
I don't know anything about anybody named Blaine. I know nothing about that.
So he was a recovering he was a recovering user, and he was a good friend of what is his name? Michael. I can't think of his name. He has a channel.
Michael Osbrook.
No, hunting true
Oh,
crime.
Mike Phillips.
Mike
He's
Phillips.
somebody,
Yes.
yeah, and he's somebody else that I have spent hours and hours with Mike Phillips. The defense has spent a couple of hours with Mike Phillips. If he knows stuff, he doesn't have to. I've just asked him repeatedly to produce proof of it, and he says he has it. It's on this phone, that phone, another phone. He'll get it. Somebody else has it. And it's just one of these things in this case that, people say they know stuff, and look, you can't prove it. I can't use it.
Blaine Nelson, that's who it was. Yes, Trial Junkie, thank you. Blaine Nelson, he was a recovering drug user, and he used to frequent Sonny Justice's channel. It's a Crime and Shame. He was on there as a guest multiple times, and he was, doing very, very well. And then all of a sudden, he OD'd, and I believe he was found in a hotel room somewhere there in Indiana. He had a wife and children. Crime and Shame did a fundraiser because it was close to Christmas, so they were raising money for the family, for the kids, for Christmas. And because of all of his connections with Michael Phillips, and more so the Kokomo crew and the Tina Rodell group of people, I think somehow his death somehow got in like mixed in with the Delphi case.
I need to respond to something Shablu put up there. And she said, Michael, who's the person in the tower dump in both Delphi and Evansdale that's slightly interesting? I want to be clear. I fixed this on a live with Teresa immediately.
You fix it on a live here?
No, with Teresa. It needs to be, there is no common cell phone dump that I'm aware of between Delphi and Evansdale. The only thing I know in quotation marks, is that there are two people in Delphi who were in Evansdale in 2012. One of them almost certainly can't be involved. The other is kind of interesting, and the defense deposed that person, and that person lied and lied and lied, I'm told. But it went nowhere, and that's really all I know, just that there is this coincidence of two people who in Delphi who happen to have been in Evansdale in 2012. There is no phone connection between the two places. What happened, and this is about the time Erica went off the rails with me, or just went off the rails, is she showed up on court TV and said that there were two people in the Evansdale geofence who were also in the Delphi geofence. And that was on me, because she had sent me a text asking
for clarification.
No, she'd asked if there were two people in the Geofence and both Delphi and Evansdale, and she put it slightly differently. I don't remember exactly how she put it. I still have the text. I could go back and look, but I read it too quickly. There were two people, and by the way, to give you this will give you an idea of how siloed everybody was. What I knew about the two people came from what? Another one of the investigators. So the investigators didn't even know what each other knew. I mean, this is it's bizarre. Anyway, I unfortunately too quickly misread her saying just that she was trying to confirm two people were both in Delphi. I said yes, and she went up on with Vinnie Politan saying there were two people in both geofences, and I corrected that immediately. I think it was the next night on a live with Teresa. That's my fault. I should not have answered that. She then asked me for the two, and she tried to say I was making her look like a liar, and I've absolutely repeatedly said that she wasn't lying about that. She had bad information from me, and it's all on me. So, you know, the other thing she's on about is that I didn't give her credit for all the work she did on the motion to correct error. And in her mind, maybe she thinks she did, but she didn't work on the motion to correct error. And look, the motion to correct error didn't get anything. I mean, I think it set up a chronic claim. It may have set up a NAPWE claim. I don't know whether what the appellate lawyers are going to use. I have two chronic cases of Mark Lehman's in the Seventh Circuit at this very moment. So, you know, he kind of knows I know my chronic stuff. That doesn't mean they're going to use it. Yeah, that may be.
Amy, I'm going to hit the hay. Night.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably need to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of repeating myself.
No, you're not. But yeah, guys, we've been on here for quite a while, and I didn't even get through half of what I had uploaded, which makes me sad, but it makes me happy. That means I've got a whole nother live to do, probably tomorrow, and then of course we'll be back on Monday with the vault.
It just means, Amy, I've been doing my job of distracting the defense.
Of course.
Getting you off the important stuff by going over old stuff. But you know, I think the contempt stuff is important to keep in mind.
All of it. I mean, all of it's important. And I mean, every time something new comes out, I think, you know, I hate to say it, but we're all like scavengers, like, oh my God. And we all attack it and we all take different things from it. And I just think that it's not hurting the case. And hopefully, you know, there's, and I speak from experience, hopefully down the road, Rick Allen will have a set of attorneys who are open-minded to working or at least accepting information from us. I don't want to say YouTube creators, but alternative media sources and alternative investigators. We have a little bit more, we are closer to the ground than even a private investigator, especially those of us who have been around for a while. There was nothing worse than spending 2.5 years working on a case like I did with Ashley's for her new public defender to not allow me I don't want to say he didn't. I feel he took my information. He just didn't use all of the information. And it just made me feel like an outsider when I feel like I had done most of the legwork. I mean, all he had to do was open the email and read, and open the files and put together the case for her post-conviction relief. And that sucked really bad, but I do think he did a great job. And I just hope for Rick Allen's sake in the future that there's, if the appeal isn't successful and there's a new set of post-conviction relief attorneys that come on board, I just hope that they're open-minded to allow all of us to provide information that is going to benefit Rick, because none of us have, I don't think, even on either side of the fence, whether it's, Mean Girls or Twiddle, whatever names you guys have for each other. I really don't know who's who. But I think we all have the best intentions, and that is
Tweedles is a murder sheet. So the Mean Girls
Okay.
are the Mean Girls are also the cranks.
Okay. I try not to get too deep in the woods on that stuff. I go, I know who, I know that all of us put in a lot of work, and that's what's important. And I appreciate the other, creators out there who share information. I appreciate All Eyes Above most. She has done a lot of work of putting things together in this case and making it very resourceful. And I just appreciate the work that she's done. I think all of us do. All of us should. It is time consuming, and I wish I was, I'm organized, but I wish I was as organized as she is. So
Can I quickly on I hate to leave on sort of a sour note, but can I respond to something Music wrote?
okay, yeah, you can respond on a sour note, but just end it on a positive note when you say goodbye.
Says I don't understand that the Attorney General of Indiana is not all over this. The Attorney General of Indiana is defending the Rick's conviction.
Yeah.
Direct appeal. The Attorney General is no friend, and I can tell you that the Attorney General views the local prosecutors as their the office views prosecutors as their clients.
Right. Yeah.
They are not. That's the Indiana Attorney General, and especially this Attorney General. He's not a thing.
Yeah, when you see the Attorney General file an appearance on a case, he's literally he is the reinforcer of the prosecutor's position. So yeah.
And so anyway, on a positive note.
Yeah, you got to leave it on a positive note.
Hoping, I'm hoping to get stuff, and I'm hoping the photogrammetry results are going to be back before long. I've been waiting for them for a long time now.
I know, my God. I would have thought that you would have had those back. I think I've asked you like 10 times.
I would have thought so too, and I'm going to have to inquire.
Okay, well, all right, guys. I'm going to my outro video tonight for all of you. As we say goodbye, we are going to grace you with some great clips of Great Lakes fungis, chickens, and my parrot. So enjoy. So good night, everybody. Hang around and watch the clips if you want to. If not, peace out. But before you go, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Give me 1 second and I'm going to load this up. I'm going to load it up. Where is it? Where is it? Is it not going to let me do it? All right, hang on, guys. May not let me do it. Blah, blah, blah. I tried to upload it, but the file is too big. So I had to do it a different way. And it may not work. Oh, it may not work tonight. It says the file is too big. So maybe what I'll do is I will shrink the file and we will watch it. Let me see. I don't know if I can share my screen this way. Hold on. One more time. Oh, here we go. Maybe we can watch it this way. Can you all see that? Can you guys see that on my screen? Yes or no? No, no, no. Damn it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I found it. I got it. I got it. Can you see that? How about now? Yep, yep, yep. Okay. All right. Enjoy. I posted my email, amyl1021@gmail.com for the PayPal link. I think that's right. I just got a new laptop and a new phone, and that PayPal I had not synced, but I will get it posted for you, Michelle. Thank you for your support. I love you guys, and enjoy the madness.